Yeah, no, fucking I love Burnley, man. I love Sean Dyche. Hope they were slipping dangerously towards relegation. It's like, oh no,
That'd be awful.
that's exactly what this season would do. Just take Burnley away from
Yeah.
us as well. No.
Take the only fun team left and get rid of them. Bring up fucking Norwich again. Who cares?
Yeah, well, they were on a bit of a bad run there. Well, not really. I mean, they were winning and losing, but they were slipping down the table, and
Yeah.
the wacky interviews from Sean Dyche were dried up. Not the time for a wacky interview when you're slipping towards relegation. What else do we have? Yeah, Premier League games this week were fucking terrible. Oh my god.
Woeful, aren't they? Man United Leeds is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
And like that's the one game you said, well, that won't be scoreless. If you had to guess.
Well, did you see Audie's interview before the game?
No. He actually didn't say that, did he?
I'll get the exact quote. It's fucking so funny. I can guarantee you this won't be 0-0. Two teams that love to attack and get at it. I can guarantee it won't be 0-0. It won't be 0-0.
He gave one of our patented guarantees.
He doubled that. He guaranteed twice.
Why?
It seems like he really wanted a 0-0 probably, and he knew that was the easiest way to
What
get.
does he have to gain from a bit? That would say that, I guess that's almost saying, because then it kind of implies that United will also concede goals. To say it's not going 0-0, not say that we'll.
And as well, if you're wrong, then you're just going like, I guarantee I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's what you've proven. You don't know what you're talking about.
No, honestly, that is nonsense.
Oh, God.
Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast with your hosts, Cathal and Will. We're back here Monday night, the 26th. A beautiful sunny day today, Will. I was out there lapping it up. Very unproductive day for me regards anything else than this. Because you know what, like, this might be one of the few good days we have. You know, like, the summer may not come. Like, when these days come, these opportunities come, you can't fuck it up. You have to kind of really grab it. Unlike Tottenham, who first final they've been in a while, first chance to win since 2008, decided, fuck it, let's just sack the manager because I have a personal vendetta against him.
Not just them, sack the notorious cup-winning manager that they signed to win a cup.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you saw that Pep has won 14 out of his last 15 finals. Can you guess who the only man to beat him was?
You know, I think you might find
it wasn't Ryan Mason.
No, it wasn't Ryan Mason. I was about to say it wasn't Ryan Mason. Did you see that stat they put up during the game?
That was so rude, wasn't it? Everyone knows. There's no need to say it.
I think they knew what they were doing, though, did they?
They said including this one in games managed.
Yeah, 1.5 games managed. 1 in 15 minutes games managed. Ryan Mason. Yeah, for everybody, it was like Pep, 260 million trophies, 700 games versus Ryan Mason games managed 2, trophies 1-0. Like, this is the second game. Do you think they had that ready for Jose Mourinho? I went, oh, well, what do you now? Just change the names and the numbers. It was probably one of the best moments of the game, though, because it was a dire game.
It was just Spurs getting relentlessly pummeled for 90 minutes.
Yeah. Fuck, like it wasn't close.
No.
But it shouldn't have been close. Obviously, it was only 1-0. It was 0-0 for most of it. But like City had so many chances. Like Sterling, I was watching, and I was like, I think Sterling will pass to Foden because, I mean, you know, it's either Foden or Sterling on the plane at this point.
Yeah.
You don't want Foden to score. You know, you want to score your own goal. I mean, he was so bad, Sterling. Like, he was getting in good positions, but that final ball, the finishing was just, it's not there at the moment for him.
Well, if notorious tapper upper Martin Tyler has anything to do with it, it'll be Phil Foden. Did you see him talking about Phil Foden turning and then getting tackled? And he was like, wow, this is something special, Gary, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he is the next great hope for English football.
But they have so many. Why him?
I think because he's the youngest, maybe. I mean, obviously Jude Bellingham is younger, but he doesn't play in the best league in the world, so who cares about him?
Yeah.
But I do because he's only 20. In case you didn't fucking know that already. But I mean, I couldn't help think about Jack Wilshere at that age.
Yeah.
Because I was only looking at before, like at that stage, Fabregas had gone, Nasri had gone, Van Persie had gone. He was 20, and then he was now the main player. It's like versus Foden, who's been like eased into the team alongside De Bruyne, Silva.
People were giving out that he wasn't playing last season. Like, there's a reason.
But that's exactly how you're meant to do it. You're meant to bed him in slowly and say, this is the level you need to get to. We're not going to play every game.
Compare him to fucking Mason Greenwood, who like burst onto the scene last year. And then this year, everyone knew how to defend against him, and he couldn't figure out what to do until now. Like, there was about 6 months there where he scored no goals.
But I mean, no, Foden is he's in the perfect situation. Like, obviously Pep as well, but I think like he can do that. He can play good in games, and then the next game, De Bruyne will step up. Like, there's no pressure on to play every single game.
Mm-hmm.
No, because when you're 16, 17, like your body's still developing. You don't want to be getting kicked on the pitch at that stage because injuries and that can really sprunt your development.
So Rooney and fucking boys like that.
Happened a lot of boys at that age. Like when you come in and you're expected to be the main man, it rarely works out. I think of Pato, another one, started quite young. Bojan, another one. Like that is an ideal situation when you come in and you can play in cup finals, and like he played well, but he didn't do anything particularly good. But no one's going to turn to Foden and say, you should have won us the game. They'll say De Bruyne should have won the game. Gundogan should have. He's the top scorer. He should have won the game. And then you can just like, all right, I had a bad game or a good game. You can just reflect quietly and improve. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was thinking of poor Jack Wilshere who got injured very early on and never really seemed to recover from that. I thought, what might have been for Arsenal, but that's those damn cronkies.
Yeah, it's their fault.
It's their fault. But hey, enough. But we got very sidetracked early on. There, we got United and Arsenal right early on talking about Man City Tottenham final.
How long until you think people give up on the podcast because of that?
Well, we have to either rebrand as United Podcast or an Arsenal versus United Podcast. We have to rebrand at some stage. I don't know. But look, back to the Carabao Cup final, the prestigious Carabao Energy Drink Cup final.
We'll talk about it. But sorry for jumping ahead, but did you see Son at the end of the game bawling his eyes out because he lost the Energy Drink Cup? I thought that was weird.
I think he just leaning into the meme now. Cheers, Son's crying.
Yeah, Gary said it. Gary Neville said it.
Oh, Son's crying. Yeah, Gary Neville's on a bit of fucking... he's loving these viral clips, I think, a bit too much. He said, oh, but I thought Tottenham were a big club, Martin.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
You're supposed to be a biased or an unbiased commentator, like...
And it's tough to do because it's like, you can't have a go at the Cronkies without talking about Arsenal. You can't have a go at the Glazers without talking about United. Even when the fans protest the owners, like, they're not doing this as on their own. They're using the club to do these bad things. So, like, you say, oh, Tottenham, who do you think they are? It's like, nobody. It's Daniel Levy who thinks that he should be in the Super League, not the whole Tottenham players or the fans or the staff there. It's only Daniel Levy. It's only Josh Kroenke. So it's like, you hear Gary Neville having a go. When you have a go at that, you're having a go at Tottenham.
Yeah. That's kind of what Klopp was saying as well. And at the time I was like, shut up, Klopp. But now looking back, he was literally like Liverpool, the people's club.
Yeah, it's like they are for Liverpool people.
The fans and the players are still the same as they were a week ago.
Yeah, Liverpool is not LFC. That's the boys. That's the bad guys for LFC. The good guys are Liverpool Football Club. LFC is this Americanized idea of a Super League club that never gets relegated. That's a franchise, So like the whole kind of, and we talked about before about the Sky being a bit kind of hypocritical because like just because you won't be involved in the Super League, you hate it. Yeah. But I don't know. They'll be the first ones this summer being like, there's a transfer in Old Trafford. We go live. How much is it for? Oh, fucking hell, 100 million. Suck me off. Like hyping up these massive.
Well, I don't know if you remember when, what was it, Bury FC or Bolton or one of them was about to go bust at like midnight if the funds wouldn't come in. And they had a countdown clock on Sky Sports and they were like, coming up soon, Bolton out of business.
Yeah, Bolton, no more. like they're the biggest culprits of it at times as well. So I mean, I heard Gary Neville doing that. I thought you meant to get off Twitter and stop looking.
Give it a rest.
You guarantee like he's watching his own 2-minute viral clips on some football page. It's like, oh man,
did well there.
Yeah. But anyways, but the game itself was kind of for Spurs fans, tough watch. I mean, look, I was very critical. I go straight back to Arsenal. I am very critical of Arteta at the start of the season and throughout. And I'm still not convinced. And if he was to be gone this summer, I probably wouldn't have a problem with this. But if Arsenal were in the cup final, I would not want him sacked the week before.
Especially when like Harry Kane and that seemed to like maybe not like Jose, but they were playing for him still. Now you have to learn a whole new manager, new thing. A new manager has to play the boys that Jose didn't like as like this is your chance, and then like Dele Alli, Winks, and who else was it, Sissoko or someone? But the 3 subs he brought on were 3 boys that Jose had outcasted, and they all were shite. That's exactly why.
Like I think Winks, they said beforehand, they hadn't played since March 18th.
That's bad.
Playing the cup final, I don't know about that one. But like for all the seasons, like for Jose to like, and he does this. He does it at Chelsea. Like he ostracized players and says, "All right, I don't like you, you, and you. You're not my plans." And remember, we said Frank was a disciple of Jose. He does the exact same thing. He's like, why doesn't it work? It worked for me at Chelsea. It's like because you kept bringing in loads of new players. But no, like of all years when you need the squad, like you look at why City have been so successful is because they have such a squad of players that they can play them all competitions. And you might say it backfired a bit in the last few weeks, but nevertheless, if you're Tottenham, you don't have the same squad as Chelsea and as City. You can't be saying, all right, Dele Alli, don't like the cut of your jib.
Don't like it, pal.
You're not going to play not only in the Premier League or Europa League, in the cup competitions either. I just don't like your face, so get out of mine. And he did that with Danny Rose before. He did that with Dele Alli this year. Bale, he wasn't gone on. And look, I'm probably in that same camp too. But like when you're working with a team that isn't the ideal team for you as Jose Mourinho, and you have games coming thick and fast, you can't just say, "Oh no, I don't like them players, so I'm going to play with these." These, like, they were top of the league in November, and they were still quite very much in January. Like that's when it starts to get really tough. That's when the injuries come, and you're just not playing players. You're not playing Harry Winks. Like I don't rate Harry Winks. He's not playing. It's like, well,
it's not about you need bodies.
You just need bodies on the pitch. So I mean, so I'm not saying that Jose did a good job, and he probably did need to go, but like not the week beforehand. And I mean, there is the story going around that he was owed a bonus if he won.
But like, come on,
did you hear that?
Yeah, but like, Tottenham aren't that hard done by. Like,
I mean, this is the business mastermind of Daniel Levy.
Daniel Levy's an idiot.
Saving money to not win. Like this is like, what do you save money for? Like you're in and you might say, oh, it's Carabao Cup. It's like if any team outside of probably City or maybe Chelsea, because I guess they have aims of winning the Champions League this year. Like I'm talking about this year. Like say even if Liverpool, or United, or Arsenal, they're out of all the competitions. You would say obviously the Europa League, but like yes, the Europa Leagues are probably a better example. Like Arsenal, United, they want to win the Europa League. I'm not going to say, listen, I don't rate Arteta, get him out for the Europa League before he wins that. I don't want him hold that over me. It's like, win the competition. Like, that's take your own personal bias out of it. Oh, we have to pay him out more money. He'd only love that. It's like, would you not love to have a trophy? Like, to sack a manager for the sake of either a personal vendetta or a bonus that's owed to a manager.
And as well, either he wins it and he gets to hold it over you, or he loses and you have an excuse to sack him. Why sack him before? Now he has that over you where could have played me, could have won the cup, but sure, look what they did. Like that's way worse. Because now I think that.
Well, that's what I think now as well. It's like, well, now when you watch the game, you think they weren't close. And
like, no, Jose wouldn't have won, but in my brain now, I think so.
I suppose it's like say he has won that trophy, so maybe his whole pre-match stuff and the way he sets the team out for a final, maybe he does have that little extra stuff that can get him. So he said, like, De Bruyne came off there that game, he looked knackered in that game. And you say, see, we're cruising, but like I think it's just a culmination of all the games, and it's hard work to control the ball that much. And look, there were instances in the game. I mean, the Laporta one, did you see that? what is your now? I've seen kind of there's two schools of thought on it. What is your take on it? As a report one?
I don't know. It's the usual. What are the rules?
Well, the ones I've seen is like the first one very cynical, should have been booked, and he does it again the second time, and he is booked.
Yeah.
And people are saying, well, if he got booked the first time, he wouldn't have done it the second time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The other school of thought is, yeah, they would have kept going and they might have scored.
Yeah.
So it's like, what side of do you fall on? Do you fall on the side of, well, he would have tried to tackle him better, or someone else would have come across, or
no,
they would have scored?
You take it as it is each time. You can't be like, oh well, I should have done this, or you should have. It's what you did do. You go as you go. Like if the first one doesn't count, then it doesn't matter. It's scrapped. It doesn't count anymore.
And of course, he would be the one to score, like just poetic in a way. That he would be the one to get the header. And it's like, he should be off. He should be fucking off. They missed John Stones, which you never think you'd be saying that.
He's great, man.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Although he did get sent off in the last game, so it's hard to know. But
that'll happen to City though, because like they're really good at those cynical fouls to break up play. Like Fernandinho is the master of them, but that's going to bite you eventually. Like,
and he got booked for one as well. That they had like, it's hard to say that Tom had no chance, because there was some decisions like, okay, that was definitely he should be off. Like, if Laporte gets sent off on that, or maybe he doesn't, or there's an actual chance for goal. Like the first half where they got the corner, and then there was this huge roar from the Tottenham fans. I was like, oh fuck, because like obviously there was fans in for the first time. There's 2,000 Spurs fans are all obviously that one end of the pitch, and there was a huge roar. Like, because that was the first time they had got up that end of the pitch. Like, oh my god, like, has it been that bad?
Could you imagine going to that game?
Yeah. But like you said, they brought on Sissoko, they brought on Bale, they started Winks, and they didn't look at it. They didn't. Dele Alli gave the ball away a couple of times.
But like, he hasn't played in months, so he's not going to be ready.
Yeah.
And then you're throwing him on in the cup final. I just thought that was weird. That seemed more like oh, come on, Dele, this will be good for you, rather than we need to win a fucking cup final. Do that next week.
Yeah. No, I mean, Spurs are now obviously out of the Carabao Cup. They lost off final.
That's a disaster of a season for them, isn't it? Like, they spent in the summer as well.
Who they won in the summer?
They got Reguilon, Bale, who's on massive.
Reguilon, who was terrible.
Yeah.
All year he's been good, and I was like, "What's Keane on about?" Reguilon's decent. He's probably been one of the best left backs in the league. And then he looked like he was just completely out of depth.
Yeah.
There was 2 games ago when I saw Greenwood fucking like from a standing start just dropped the shoulder and done him, and Reguilon was like, "Whoa, where did he go?" I was like, "Man, like," I was like, "Okay, that was bad." And then this game as well, I was like, "Geez, Reguilon is pretty limited. Like, he's good attacking, but I mean, his defense, like,
he's
Alexander Arnold gets
thing,
abused for not being defensively good, but
he's not that bad." But yeah, like, they bought Reguilon, they paid big money for Bale, and they got Højbjerg as well, who's savage. But like,
Højbjerg,
those are 3 good additions to the team, and they did way worse. And you've Jose, whose whole thing is, I'm gonna win a trophy. It's the second year. That's how it works.
Yeah. Also, didn't they have to pay off Jose, I assume?
Definitely. It was a lot of money, I think.
So he didn't get the bonus for winning the cup, but he had to pay off his contract. Like, I mean, where's the thinking behind that? Or that I just don't like Jose Mourinho and I don't care about Spurs, I'm going to sack him.
Well, I'm starting to think it really was just on the day when everyone was so wrapped up in all the Super League things, they were like, we can just sack him now and no one's going to care. Like, it's not going to be any kind of... People are busy.
Yeah, but next week, Daniel, we have the cup final.
We'll win.
When's that game you watched, Daniel?
What sport?
Because I know you're at the game in November. Is that the last game you watched, Daniel?
That could be.
Because I have some news.
What's Ryan Mason doing? Is he free?
Daniel Mason retired years ago.
Do you think he'd manage for free? Who cares? We're in the Super League, baby.
Don't worry, I got a surprise called the Super League. Cook it up. No, I mean, a terrible season for Spurs on balance, really. When you look at the money they spent, the Jose coming in, a failed appointment that was.
The squad is in bits. Like, they all hate each other, apparently.
Harry Kane looks like he's on the way out.
Son
Dele
probably
Alli
on the way
was
out.
nearly on the way out.
No Champions League next year, probably. Like, that's why would Kane and Son stick around for that now?
Yeah, because they're both. I think Son is similarly like age of Kane,
Yeah,
like 28.
they've got a big contract left, like,
Dele Alli looks checked out.
and I think they're both the same. Son and Kane have never won a trophy at club level, ever, even before Spurs. Well, obviously Kane before Spurs, but Son never won one before Spurs.
Where was he? Leverkusen? Was Aaron before that?
He was at Leverkusen and Wolfsburg, I think. But yeah, he never won a thing. So, like, that's going to be... it's going to be rattling around your brain a bit.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, what am I doing this for?
It is, yeah, a tough year for Spurs. City, on the way... Now, let me ask you this. Are they on the way to treble?
No, I don't think so.
You don't... Well, no. So let me rephrase that. If they were to win the league, which they will, and the Champions League, would you count this as a treble?
I wouldn't count it as a treble, but I don't think they'll do it.
Now, take your United hat off before you do.
United hat off. Because, like, of course they're going to win the Carabao Cup every year because it's the competition that everyone plays their second team in so they can play their better players in the other competitions.
I didn't realize they won it 4 years in a row. I mean, obviously I did.
Of course,
but like when they said it, I was like, "Oh fuck, they have."
Yeah, because they have the best second squad in England by a country mile. Like, so yeah, no, that doesn't count.
But is it not the same in that, like,
no? Because the FA Cup is way harder to win.
What is the difference in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup? Is there like less
teams, less games?
Less teams in the Carabao? Is it the Carabao Cup just the four like
I think
Division League Two?
I don't even. Does it even go to League Two? It might just be League One to Premier League, and then FA Cup is like the whole fucking football.
Yeah,
pyramid.
FA Cup is like
all of them.
Fucking Newark, and in theory,
good reference.
The Newark equivalent of in England or whatever. I think isn't that how FA Cup? It starts in like June. Usually,
yeah, there's like round one fixed. There's like qualifying games with like non-league teams playing each other. I think.
Because there's always a story of some like non-league, like Sunday league team that comes up against like a Cambridge hammer them 6-0. It's like, oh, and that's always like in September.
I remember Lincoln Town was it QPR or something, and they were non-league.
Yeah,
and Joey Barton was snapping after the game. I don't know. Actually,
so sweet. Imagine being not professional footballer beating Joey Barton in a professional game. Oh, life complete.
I don't know. Like, speaking of him, did you see what happened to him this week?
No.
So he's managing, I don't know what team. It's a team in like League 2 or League 1, but they got relegated.
Yeah.
And in his post-match interview after them getting relegated, he said, "It's not on me. This is 100% on the players." And then it came out again. He said the same thing again. And he said, "I'm not including that on my CV because I didn't do
it." Wow. That's straight out. That goes beyond the Jose Mourinho or Frank Lampard school of post-match interviews.
I always think when I think of Joey Barton, I remember watching United play. It might have been United versus City a few years ago. Or I wasn't watching. I had to listen to it, and I was listening to it on TalkSport, and he was commentating it. And there was a line of commentary I always remember it, where Pogba was stepping up to take a free kick, and Joey Barton's words were, "Look at him with the haircut, the gloves. You'd almost be forgiven for thinking he's a footballer." I was like, shut the fuck up, Joey Barton. Pogba just won a World Cup.
Oh, man. Yeah, probably one of the most unlikely men in football, I think, Joey Barton. Like, not by any particular fans, because there's plenty of probably least liked people, rival fans, but I think universally disliked. As in, like, I just would not fancy having a pint with Joey Barton. You know what I mean? I would not fancy spending 20 minutes in an airport sat beside Joey Barton and him like drumming up small, like, oh, fuck off.
And it wasn't me. I didn't get them relegated.
No, have a good night, man.
And Lincoln as well. Don't get me started.
Oh, fuck. So yeah, you wouldn't count Carabao Cup as part of any treble?
No, definitely not.
No.
And like, that's not as like, no, it's not the real one. It's just like, it's not as the FA Cup is harder to win. Less teams win the FA Cup.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I personally would count it because I mean, a fine is a fine. It's easy to say it doesn't count, but I mean, I know. I think you have to if they have to win all three. Like say, if they just win the Carabao Cup and the league, I'm not giving them the double.
Yeah, but when they're all together.
Yeah, I think there's something to respect about it. on 3 out of 4 fronts.
Well, they did win they won the domestic treble a few years ago, didn't they? And they were like the first team to ever do it, and people were like, "Well, it's because they're the first team that had a chance to do it." It's like
they won the 2 cups and the league.
I'm nearly sure that was the thing.
Oh,
I think it was the year they won the Charity Shield as well, and they called themselves the Formidables at the end of the season. Remember that?
I have a sinking memory of that. I have like a second-hand embarrassment memory of that.
Yeah.
Like when I've blocked out, I've been so second-hand embarrassed for like, oh God.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I cringe at the fucking Invincible stuff.
Yeah.
Because every time a team loses, some Arsenal fans that I know will post on Twitter 49 undefeated.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ. Like as if, oh, we're the only Invincibles. Like no one else done it. It's like, oh man, it's like no, again, not to take away from the achievement, but like you can't keep banging on about it. You know what I mean? You can't keep fucking talking about the, so like the Formidables, like if you win the Champions League and the league in the 1 year, and then you win a cup on top of that, I think that has to be respected.
Yeah.
A cup double and a league double, no. I'm not that. I'm not impressed. You failed to impress me, Man City.
Boring.
You're a beautiful footballer. You're player of the years. You failed again to impress me, a podcaster. Fair play to the City. First trophy of the year. The treble's on in my book. Maybe not some people's book, but there you go.
Some people who won't be mentioned in the book.
In the Premier League, in a week where they really needed to show those elitist pigs in Europe that this is the best league in the world, they really fell short.
I was thinking at the end of the weekend, maybe Super League wouldn't have been so bad. Maybe I do want to see United play Real Madrid every week.
Tell me again about this Super League you mentioned. It sounds intriguing to me.
That was fucking hell. Every game was just...
Yeah, low scoring, I think, is the shorthand way to describe these games. One of the first games, and one of the games that relates to this podcast directly, again, for our long-term listeners, Will made some guarantees at the start of this, start of our podcast, about Liverpool and Newcastle, respectively. And, of course, this week, they played each other.
The guarantee derby. El Garantillo.
El Garantillo, yes. El Garantillo between Will, for anyone who doesn't remember. Will, let us know your guarantees.
Yeah, so I strongly guarantee that Liverpool will get top 4 and Newcastle were too big to go down. Little did I know it would be the Liverpool one. It's looking shaky.
Yeah, cast your mind, folks, back to January if you can. It feels literally like about 10 years ago now. But Liverpool weren't doing too badly. They were a bit shaky. I don't think it was long after the Van Dijk stuff. I think they kind of looked like they were going to steady the ship. And then the injuries kept coming for the hits kept coming for Liverpool, and Newcastle decided to say they weren't going to play football anymore. But they played this week. Liverpool were so on top the whole game. Chance after chance after chance.
Yeah.
And you might think that they might rue these missed chances, and oh boy, did they.
Has there ever been a game where you're like, wow, good thing that didn't come back to bite them? Whenever you think that thought, you know it's going to happen.
It did feel like that when you're watching Liverpool miss these chances, and not even because it always happens, but just because the way Liverpool are this year.
Yeah,
that they've turned into a real confidence team. Like every miss,
they start panicking. Every miss is worse.
Every miss is like, oh no, we should have scored that one. Oh, we definitely should have scored that one. Oh, we should have scored that one for sure.
Newcastle are coming at us now.
And Newcastle could then, I think you can feel that from a team. You can feel a team.
Definitely.
Oh no, like you can feel it when Timo Werner misses chances. You're like, oh, this guy doesn't have it. This guy doesn't want it anymore. He wants to be taken off. I don't know. As I was looking at some of those players, I was like, maybe they're on the beach. These Liverpool players, because I mean, they're out of Champions League and the Cups, obviously. Top 4 is still on the table. It was before this game. It was on the table. But, I mean, it's kind of outside bet. The likes of Mane, Firmino, they've got no Euros. They just want this season to fucking end, I think.
They look like they're finished with Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're just like, it's been a long season. They've probably been, like, I haven't been watching every interview they've done, but I'm sure they've done loads after every loss, after every draw. Yeah. What do you think is the reason you're playing so badly this year? Oh my God.
The injuries.
And then you have like Fabinho, who's playing Brazil. Do they have a Copa South America, whatever it's
No
called.
clue.
I don't know. Like for a lot of those players, Sal as well is obviously still playing well. He scored for them. But yeah, they scored early on, and then they kept missing chances. And then, I mean, look, the reason that you said they would stay up is because of Sam Maximan and Callum Wilson, who are legitimately very, very good players. And they're both back. Callum Wilson nearly scored.
Yeah.
Again, VAR. We've avoided the VAR talk for a long time, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Maxim like played him through perfectly to Callum Wilson, and it kind of bobbled up and hit his arm, which was like in front of him. He didn't stick out an arm.
Turned, it hit his body. Like if he had no arm, it would have hit the same place.
Yeah, like more or less would have gone the same direction, you know. But anyways, it hit the arm, so therefore, letter of the law, which again is not the way this sport was ever meant to be played. So they deny that, and that's when the real panicky Liverpool this year is like, oh my God, lads, I nearly scored. Fuck, that was close.
Oh, good thing that didn't happen. Oh no, here it comes.
And then Joe Willock, who may be a late contender for Arsenal's Player of the Year, scores again from the bench. He got a goal like immediately after that. They scored again through Joe Willock. He came off the bench and scored. Like if we said we wrongly looked at the Newcastle pictures and said, yeah, they're not going to win a game again. They've now gotten 4 points from Liverpool and West Ham. Like, all right, well, I guess
that's surely enough.
That's enough for them.
Because like they should be beating Fulham on the last day as well.
Yeah. So it was 96 minutes, whatever they scored. It was like the first minute and the last minute that the two goals came, and it was just kind of frantic chance missing for Liverpool.
Liverpool are fun to watch this year for very different reasons to the last few years. Because now it's always 90 minutes of pure and utter panic.
Yeah. Even when they were on top, like I think they had 22 shots to Newcastle's 7.
That's mad.
Yeah, 69% possession. Nice.
Savage.
And but only 9 shots on target.
Do you think when they got to 69% possession, they were like, give the ball away?
Yeah, well, that
don't get it anymore.
The ultimate on the beach move. Funny statistics territory. Yeah, I mean, that's surely Liverpool out of top 4 now.
You would think, but who knows this year? Because it seems like no one wants top 4 except Chelsea. They're going for it. Yeah,
they beat West Ham in the top 4 race. Where does that put Chelsea now? Does that put them ahead of West Ham? Oh no, Chelsea 58, West Ham 55, so 3 points ahead. That was a 6-pointer, you might say. Yeah. Timo scored, which is good to see, but he missed a sitter.
Yeah, poor fucker.
But he had a bit of fun with it. Did you see his comments after the game?
Yeah, he's like, I can only score. He's like, didn't want to get too ahead of myself.
Yeah, maybe I should only score 1 on the way back. Only joking. I really wanted to score. That classic German humor we all know.
Tuchel is like, that was very funny.
Yeah, I mean, look, as long as he's not fucking, in his head about it, I think he'll come good next season, Timo. I think.
Yeah, I think so as well.
All those players, Ziyech, Havertz, even Mason Mount to an extent, you're kind of not sure who's playing every week. They're obviously sticking with Timo, I would say, unless they bring in Haaland, but who knows where that's going to end up. If they stick with Timo and they have the same manager, same kind of players again, I think he'd be fine. Because he has loads of ability, he's loads of pace. He is a good finisher when he finishes. So I think he'll be fine. I think West Ham are going to fall short of the top 4. I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a shame as well after the whole year they've had.
Yeah, it was a kind of a valiant effort, but you can't lose a player like Declan Rice at this end of the season and still compete for that top 4 because it's.
I could see Leicester dropping out though. It's around this time of year every year where things start going haywire for them.
Oh, Leicester, yeah, they're behind as we speak to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah, no prizes for guessing who scored for Crystal Palace. Wilfred Zaha with the goal after 12 minutes.
Well, we just go to the flow chart. We could have told you.
Yeah, just remember the nuances flow chart of Zaha playing versus not playing.
I don't know if you saw that Rodgers is linked with the Tottenham job.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Yeah, so he could do. Remember what he did with Celtic, where they were just about to win the league, and he went, "Fuck off, I'm out of here." So you could do. I could see him doing that with Leicester as soon as a better job pops up.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, is Tottenham a better job than Leicester now?
I was about to say, I was like, the situation that they're in. I think if you're Rodgers now and you're smart, you're going to wait for.
See what Kane does.
It all shakes out. Yeah. Where does Son end up? Where does Kane end up? Dele Alli, Gareth Bale.
See if we get top 4, I suppose.
Yeah, Leicester will have top 4. And if Leicester can hold on to the players.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he has time now because the Euros. Not much happens after the Euros, and you can kind of get a better sense of it. So
normally like a frantic week of transfers, and that's kind of it in Euros summers.
Yeah.
It's not the fucking 3-month long ordeal.
No, if Leicester can hold on to the players that they have, and Tottenham don't, I don't know why you'd be going to Tottenham. Yeah, I wouldn't take Tottenham job if I was him.
Would
not
you
right
take
now.
the Tottenham job?
Well, if it was me, if I was asked tomorrow, would I take it? No, if I was Brendan Rodgers and I had the skills and the capacity and the CV that man had, I think I'd wait and see. I'd play the old waiting game with it. Yeah. In the other games in the Premier League, not much to write home about. I would say
one of the worst games I've ever seen in United versus Leeds.
Oh God, a game like I said would if you were to pick one fixture, a few weeks ago that was coming up, that would not be a 0-0. Leeds, for one, they both score and concede, and United similarly, they like to score and it was an awful game.
I thought Leeds were actually good though. They were totally different to last time United played them, where they were just like, we'll attack no matter what, and then they lost 6-1 or whatever. This time they were like, why don't we just relax a bit? And then they got a point. Like, that
is probably more important for Leeds than anything. Like, they would rather learn from mistakes than say have exciting games and almost lose them all the time.
Than say like a Southampton, for example.
Yeah, or like Fulham are probably a worse version of Leeds this year in that they go all attacking, they can't defend for shit, and then they concede goals and lose games. And now you might say Leeds are in no danger of that, but they're what, mid-table, 8th, 9th, 10th, around that all year.
More money the higher up you are in the table at the end as well, and they're only after coming up, so that'll be a big deal.
And say they had a few more results that didn't go their way, they might be in trouble. So I mean, you want to kind of say, all right, let's try and lock this down and not give away silly goals before we start banging our own. So, but yeah, it was a fucking terrible game. I mean, that's from that we're trying to put our minds in the heads of the Man United and Leeds officials. But I mean, for the neutral, for me, anyways, you didn't see Jamie Carragher cursing on air over it, did you?
No.
There was a ball where Leeds passed him straight back to United. He just started laughing, chuckling at us. And then there's like a phase of like nothing happening, and the main commentator didn't say anything. And he goes, Jesus. Sorry, folks. I mean, this hasn't been a good game. Don't worry, you have a cup final later on. Please stick with us. I was like, he's been watching his own viral clips as well. He's lost the run of himself. He thinks he can do whatever he wants now. He literally cursed on air.
The two boys need to be taken off for a few weeks. Get their heads straight.
They've disappeared up their own holes, the two boys. Yeah. Honest to God. I mean, they're
going to start their own Super League.
Start their own Sky Sports. That'd be the next move. Their own broadcast company. It was unbelievable. Because like every time there's a slight pickup of like an F word or I'm so sorry for that industrial language you may have heard, factory floor type language.
Name in vain.
Yeah, and then he takes the Lord's name in vain as a co-commentator. And like, I don't know.
And as well, it's a boring game, but come on, man! That's your job to watch boring games.
I mean, this is what happened to Richard Keys and
Andy Gray.
Andy Gray, where they now not as public as this. They thought they were Sky Sports, and in many ways they were. Yeah. I mean, they started with the tactics board type thing. That was Andy Gray's baby, and Richard Keys was obviously the face of it. He was the Dave Jones, to the power of 10, Dave Jones. And then they obviously were not liked in the office or by the powers of being Sky, and they secretly recorded them being not so secretly sexist. Play the clip.
Classic.
Play that classic clip.
Well, somebody better get down there and explain offside to her.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe that? Female lines. That's exactly what I said. Women don't know the offside rule.
Of course they don't.
That's
You smash it? Mind you, that's a stupid question. If you were anywhere near it, you definitely smashed it. You go around there any night and found Redknapp hanging out the back of it. It was just banter.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought like it was weird. It's like, all right, it's a bit like, you know, the X Factor, when it was like,
Yeah.
you know, it'd be super talented people would come every single year, but then, you know, they disappear and you never hear from them again. So the next time some super talented person comes, like, I'm not going to get involved because I'm never going to hear about them. So I decided, well, let's make this about the constants, which is the judges. You know what I mean? Like Premier League storylines come and go, but Jamie Redknapp and Gary Neville, they're the main. They'll be there every week. You know what I mean? They're not going to get injured. They're going to be here every week. I think they've kind of bought into this a little bit themselves, that they think they are the star of the show. It's like, you're the co-commentator, Jamie Carragher. Like, just commentate the game. Like, oh, I'm sorry that you have to get paid to watch a game of football and it's a bit boring for you. Fuck you.
I'm watching it for free.
Yeah, no one's paying me and I'm bored. You know?
But yeah, like, I'm sure they had a week of just non-stop praise from every single angle. So I'd imagine, well, hopefully they tone it down a bit.
Yeah, emboldened, I'm sure, going on to their respective broadcasts this weekend.
Hopefully Keane just talks a bit of fucking sense into them the next time they do anything.
Yeah.
Because he's the type to be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he needs to bring up some old Gary Neville story to take him on a peg or two. Legitimately, he needs to be taken on a peg or two.
Yeah.
He's lost him.
Roy Keane needs to be like, Gary Neville shit himself on the team bus once.
Hey, Gary, remember that time we were on a Champions League game in Budapest and you fell in love with that hooker? I do. Nicky Butt does. Ask him. He'll tell you.
I don't know. Did you see Keane's Instagram post with him and Scholes?
No.
Just sitting like smiling, and the caption was, we were in for some good money until Neville and Redknapp opened their mouths."
No way. Oh man. Although I will say Paul Scholes is the most dour man on TV. I mean, no doubt that's why Keane and Scholes had such a long career and were so successful, because they never enjoyed a second of it. It was all about the next ball in every aspect of their life. Like, yeah, you won, but like, we have to win again next year, don't we? So stop smiling. Get back on the field.
Did you ever hear the story of when United won the Champions League and Ferdinand is celebrating on the pitch? He has like champagne or whatever. And Ferguson comes up. He's like, "Come here, Rio. I want to get your opinion on who we should sign next season." And he's like, "Can we not just fucking enjoy this one?
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ. Take a minute off."
No, some of those super, you know, especially ones with the longevity, they're the ones who are just really not fun to be around. Like, because they're just they take it pure serious. They really take it
pure
serious. Like the ones who like have a peak of like 3 or 4 years, I think they're great crack. Like I had as much talent as anybody else, and like for 3 or 4 years I really gave it a proper go, and then I didn't really care after that. Like, they're the ones like, yeah, I bet they're fucking chill. But lads who like burst on the scene at 21 and felt the pressure immediately and were like raging that the club wouldn't give them a contract at 37 and like had a falling out with everybody. Do not hang out with them. I bet
Carlos Tevez is a legend.
Oh yeah. For sure, he's a great hang. I mean, Ronaldinho, another one. I mean, you can tell that anyways. But I mean, he was like the best player in the world for a couple of years. I went,
bored.
That was fun, but I mean,
partying's fun too.
I do like the partying. Who else?
Maradona, great.
Maradona. He definitely had a peak there, but then he liked the party.
He was like that.
Who else? Who's another modern day great?
Not modern day, with George Best.
George Best, yeah. George Best.
Again, was just like, football is okay, I'll take it or leave it. There's not too many modern. They're all boring now because they're all just fucking super athletes.
Yeah, I think the bar's been raised a bit as well, where it's just kind of like you can't get away with it anymore. Any of those 90s Arsenal alcoholics are probably good crack. Like Paul Merson obviously was the magic
Tony
man.
Adams.
Tony Adams. Now, he had a long career, but he was definitely fun to hang around with, I'd say. Trying to think of like modern, like the modern day ones are few and far between that have like a really high peak where they're like, oh yeah, he's unbelievable, and then just kind of fade away again.
Yeah,
Like think of even players like Rubery or Robin. They went on forever and were good forever.
yeah. Yeah, it's rare someone has a peak in and then goes.
Yeah, it's kind of a forgotten,
Yeah.
a lost art. The World Player of the Year and then just drop off a cliff.
Just decide you like to drink more.
They keep buying me drinks. We have training in the morning. What? We have training in the morning.
We already won the last game. Fucking take a break.
I'm player of the month, you bitch.
I have a Ballon d'Or. It's the 60s, baby.
The Ballon d'Or hasn't even been invented yet. Oh, man. Yeah, man. That's what I would do as a footballer. If I had all the talent, I'd spurn it. I'd waste it away. Hey, I'd say Hazard is good hang.
Yeah, Hazard, great.
He was more of a year on, year off type. But I mean, he definitely wasn't like, I have to be the best.
He revolutionized the lazy game.
Yeah. Victor Moses, another one. He could have a really good year and then just, well, he's not playing well this year. I bet he's fucking
having a good
time. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Premier League. I mean, it wasn't the best week. A lot of Leicester equalised. Hang on there now. Breaking news of this Tuesday afternoon.
Live.
Timothy Castagna, 50 minutes.
Good player.
1-1 as it stands.
Yeah, the league is pretty much, apart from 4th and 17th or 18th.
Yeah.
Yes, the league is done, isn't it? Like
the relegation is petering out a little bit. Fulham have lost last 4 in a row, which is not the kind of form you want in a relegation fight.
No.
Not an expert, but I would imagine not what you
losing
want.
Bad, winning good.
1 draw in the last 5, and not exactly.
Yeah,
you know, you're not really proving to me that you deserve to for 1. You know, maybe you aren't very good. West Brom, too little, too late for them. They drew 2-2 with Villa in a calamitous goal at the end. They kind of got mixed up the goal in the centre back. The centre back kind of tried to chest this, and the goalie was like, "Oh, are you going to kick that out, or will I catch it?" And then the Villa player just like knocked it in 2-2. That was like 93rd minute as well. It was fucking. You know, but if they'd won, I mean, they were a bit off Brighton in 17th.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll require a miracle for them.
Because it's that stage of the season now where you can mathematically work out how many games you need to win.
Yeah.
And there's like, so if you need to win 2, but you have 6 games left, you can just be like, do it next week.
Yeah.
We'll do it when we're playing someone easier.
Yeah, because like what you were saying, West Brom, they lose 2 more and they're out.
I think so. I think that's the case.
Yeah, like West Brom, like Sheffield are obviously already out. West Brom needs to lose 2 more. Fulham just don't look like they have what it takes to stay up here. Brighton are, you know, their best chance. Newcastle are stealing away with it. And then the top, Man City need 2 more to win.
Yeah.
United drew, which didn't have that outside bet. The top 4, I mean, it's not really interesting, is it?
No, after all that, it's going to be fucking
like West Ham.
Exact teams that look like would get it are going to get it. So where are Arsenal in 10th?
Arsenal 10th, mid-table mediocrity, I think is what they call this.
So do they have literally no Europe next year? None. Not even the bad one. Not even the Europa League 2.
Not even the Europa League or the Europa League 2. The ultimate disrespect.
But that's pretty good. I think that'll be good though. Because that's an extra fucking 50 games or whatever you don't have to play.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Especially after the Euros. I think that'll help them.
Yeah, I mean, often when you see after international competitions, the team that has the least international players, be it like South Americans who weren't playing in the Euros or players who didn't qualify for the World Cup, whatever the case may be, they tend to have better years next year. So it's similar enough to Arsenal have less games, but
bad for signing players, though, definitely.
It's like to even say there are 3 or 4 or 5 players away. I don't know, to be honest. I couldn't even give a wish list of Irish players that you might sign. So, I mean, look, they should need to do better next year for sure. But they lost there to Everton 1-0 first time in last 32 attempts or some fucking statistic like that. Some bullshit like that. Howler from Leno.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think Arsenal and Everton are probably both playing beach football right now. You know,
Yeah,
they're not within. I mean, Arsenal obviously are still in the Europa League, but it was a bad form for Arsenal.
How is there's not even talk of Arteta losing his job.
I know. I think it's just been a mastermind in expectation lowering. But again, no, it hasn't. It hasn't, because there was massive protests outside Arsenal.
Yeah, that's true.
And I texted you before that this has, I'd say, very little to do with the Super League.
Yeah.
This is just more a protest of the slow decline of Arsenal.
Yeah. This is more an airing of grievances rather than a protest about anything.
And there's been no, like, obviously it's been a slow over the last few seasons, but like there's been no like, all right, this is the time we have to, you could say at any time, but like you need kind of all right, now you all need to get together behind this Super League and demand these owners don't fucking. But I think it's more that we're being so shit that they want the owners out. But I don't know. I think, like, you know, you talk about the German model and responsibly run club.
Never gonna happen.
Arsenal is a responsibly run club.
Yeah,
like,
they don't
money. Spend the money they don't have.
Yeah, it's good business.
They don't like rehaul. They don't rehaul. They don't overhaul. Like, say like what Chelsea did or what City did a couple of years ago, buying like 60 million worth of left backs or whatever they did. Like, Arsenal don't do that. They buy one or two players based on the revenue, the substantial revenue they make from fans and that. But they don't go on big spending sprees.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the reality of a well-run club in a lot of cases in England. Like that, you wouldn't spend a lot of money.
I see a lot of United fans clamoring for the 50+1 thing, which would be great if the club was fucking fan owned. But you're gonna plummet down the fucking league.
Yeah, that means you don't buy the 3 or 4 players you might be away.
Yeah, you don't get Bruno, you don't get fucking Harry Maguire. Like, the list is endless of players United have signed that have made a difference over the last few years.
Like, if the Glazers were to somehow get Mbappe or Haaland in this summer, I don't think anybody would be talking shit with the Glazers.
See, the thing with United is it's just it was bad business. Like, they were spending, but it was like you're spending on stupid things. It was more protesting over be smarter rather than stop being evil.
Exactly. It's like it's not really the point of why people are mad about the Super League. Like, oh, they're spending money in the wrong ways. Like, they should be investing in the club. No, they should be buying better players.
They should be spending on Manchester. No.
I mean, the Super League stuff, like we were saying, it's the nature of the news cycle, I suppose, in a way. That it's just like, well, what happens now? Do we take them off some boards, maybe?
Nothing's going to happen.
Take the representatives from those clubs off the boards.
They all said so. Well, Arsenal were linked with being bought today by Spotify's owner. But who's the older one? Is it Josh Kroenke or Stan? Who's the dad?
The dad is Stan, I think, and the son is Josh. Josh is the guy who he's making money off it, so and that's the thing, like that, and that is responsible ownership in a way that he's not spending money. Like, he's there to make money from the club. He's running it as a responsible business. Abramovich there, he wants to win things. He's got plenty of money. He doesn't need to.
Just look at the draw, who you get.
And the Glazers, you might say as well, are kind of in between both. Like, obviously, Man United is probably the biggest international brands with the most revenue in that sense. So they have kind of a bit of both. Like,
theirs was because it was nasty business, like buying the club with the club's own money and all that stuff.
That stuff didn't sit well. But then when you buy, I mean, a couple of seasons ago when they bought Mkhitaryan and Ibrahimovic in the same summer, for like, this is great. This is fucking great.
Here we go. I love Ed Woodward.
Well, fuck it. That's what we should talk about. We didn't know about Ed Woodward. So this was the story about Ed Woodward, who was he was in a meeting. The Prime Minister's Johnson's Chief of Staff, Dan Rosenfield, on April 14th, days before the announcement of the Super League. Now, obviously, you see that news and you go, oh, well, he was obviously there to talk about
the Super League.
Super League.
The thing that was going to happen.
What else would Man United, the biggest club in England, chief executive, be talking to the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff about? So that was obviously denied instantly. It said the European Super League was not discussed. But subsequent reports, so other papers came out and said it very much was.
Yeah. Reports from other papers not associated with Ed Woodward.
Yeah. Apparently he met with Rosenfield and they're talking. This is the official line that they're talking about, like COVID passports and back to fans back to stadiums and COVID-19, that kind of thing. Just, run the mill stuff that Ed Woodward is talking for, I guess,
none of the other clubs.
All the Football League. Edward Woodward is the guy here. I don't know if maybe he is on some kind of board, but I've never heard of him.
No.
I don't think I don't know why he would be there. I don't know why he'd be talking to Ed Woodward about this, not someone from the FA or someone from someone else. And then it came out that, there was maybe less truth to what the official number 10 was saying. And said, well, maybe he met Boris Johnson in a corridor. It was a chance meeting.
Yeah.
And perhaps he left with the impression that Boris Johnson was backing the Super League, but that was a mistake. That was wrong.
I didn't talk about the Super League, but I had a feeling he wouldn't have minded it if we were going ahead with it.
He told me with his eyes that that the Super League was on, and he was wrong in thinking that. Edward would have got that one wrong. I mean, look, it happened. Look, we've all been there. You get the wrong signals. I think, yeah, maybe I'll I think I know what you're talking. I think I feel what you're putting out there, and you're wrong. And that's just what happened to Ed Woodward. He was talking about COVID restrictions, back to fans back to stadiums, and he thought, will I mention the Super League? But then something in Johnson's eyes in the corridor, not the official meeting, said, you know what? I don't even have to say it.
I mean,
I've given him the look, he's given me the look, and boys, we're all go. Now that would explain why he was fired. That's actually what that did happen. That is definitely a fire offense. Like, so what did he say, Ed? Well, he didn't say anything per se, but he gave me.
Why were you there, Ed? You fucking idiot.
Yeah, the whole thing seems unbelievable, and I think people are calling for the minutes of the meeting to be released to say, all right, what fucking happened? Because
Boris Johnson was so anti-Super League as soon as there was backlash towards it. But I mean,
well, this is the kind of, because Ed Woodward, you can't come out and, because look, he's a young man, Ed Woodward.
Yeah.
He has his whole career ahead of him. He can't be burning bridges with the Prime Minister and all the connections he has by saying he's a liar. He told me he could. So he has to release these like little bits of information to papers to kind of fight back, while Johnson is like, no, he never talks about that. He's a liar.
I just told him I wanted to stack bodies to the ceiling.
I just happened to be in the corridors. Oh, Ed, what's the crack? How are you?
And then Ed just winked at me.
Like, what was Boris Johnson talking to him in the corridors about, if not the Super League? If he was in a meeting with Dan Rosenfield about restrictions, fine. Then he meets Boris Johnson and they talk about the weather. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's like, is there anything coming up in the next few days, Ed? Oh, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, and then that's the other thing. Then you have to the other line is that Ed is saying, or they're saying that Ed wasn't made aware of it.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't in on the plan, which... Why wouldn't they tell? I mean, I know what
all the other clubs were in on the plan.
Like, from now to look at it, we think Ed Woodward is incompetent, but his employers, surely, if they thought that, they would have fired him years ago. So the fact that they didn't tell him seems unbelievable as well. So nothing adds up. Like I said, they're looking for the minutes of the meeting to be released. I don't think they probably will. I think they'll just hope that this. Well, I mean, look, Boris Johnson has his own issues right now. I think people care about more things than the Super League that feels like a distant memory now. So
think there were minutes taken to that meeting about the evil Super League. I don't think so.
Yeah, well, if they are, they've been lost to time, I think. But yeah, look, I think Ed will be fine as long as he keeps his mouth shut.
Did you see Gary Lineker defending Woodward a few times on Twitter? And then someone posted a picture of Lineker and Woodward like arm in arm at a pub somewhere. Like they're good pals. But yeah, Lineker said, for those United fans who want the Glazers out, like he's like, enjoy slipping into mediocrity with no one spending any money.
Oh, I did see that. He was having to go, I think, Arsenal first about the Spotify thing, saying like, all Arsenal want is different billionaires, which is literally what we were talking about. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And then Rooney was like, no, there's a hardcore in Man United that have wanted the Glazers out. Yeah. You know, the what's the Manchester FC United or whatever it's called. Yeah. Like there's a hardcore in United for years who want to change. And And then I think Lineker was saying, well, look, like, again, I'm basically the same as Gary Lineker. He said, Arsenal are a well-run club, but that's what they are. That's where playing by the rules gets you.
Yeah.
You got to spend money to make money. But again, these kind of things over Twitter, it's like, you can't have serious arguments over Twitter.
Yeah.
Because you lose, like, you just can't. Like, arguments over text. It's like, oh, I got to call this person. This is getting out of hand. Like,
And also,
I shouldn't be doing this over text.
Like, I get, say, Ian Wright getting involved or stuff like that. But fucking, why does Gary Lineker care? Go ahead, shut up.
Because he's a TV football personality.
I know, yeah, but it seems like more often than not, he's just. It's very rare you agree with Gary Lineker, I think.
Yeah?
I think
he's pretty spot on most things. This one, I think it is kind of a more complex thing of like, there is different factions in fans. Like you're saying, those Arsenal protests, most of them are like, I wish we weren't so shit.
Yeah.
Some of them probably genuinely do want a German model of 50+1. Other people, I think, were just probably bored and wanted to be out of the house. So like, there's no, I think, united front from any. Like, you didn't see many protests at City or Chelsea.
Yeah,
I mean, Chelsea, yes, I would say Chelsea, but I mean, I think if you look back at them before Abramovich, it'd be pretty hard to say we want him out.
Yeah.
I think they were protesting Super League and Super League alone.
Yeah.
Whereas Arsenal and then some United fans, I mean, Liverpool fans, as much as we have a go at John Henry, I mean, they've done pretty well, I would say, in the last 10 years. No,
he just had a string of bad stuff in a row this year because then he tried to trademark the word Liverpool.
Yeah.
Which is very funny. Then he furloughed a lot of staff. And he
Yeah,
did a lot
yeah.
of things in a row, which was and that's why people hated the apology, because he was like, once again, I am very sorry.
Yeah. Once again, I'm asking for your forgiveness. Wait, but speaking of Americanized things, I remember I was ruining my Premier League All-Star weekends that may never happen. They brought in a Hall of Fame,
Yeah, actually, I forgot
which is
about that.
very Americanized.
Yeah, and especially one that very like the WWE Hall of Fame, where it doesn't actually exist. It's just kind of it's a Hall
yeah.
of Fame that exists in your mind. There's no physical.
The Hall of Fame is a social construct. Thierry Henry and Alan Shearer were the first inductees, and have like a list, the exact same as the American model of first ballot Hall of Famers.
But I saw something which I thought was a bit weird. The next 8, so I think 8 people go in every induction, so there's 6 more to go in. Do you know the next 6 are decided by fan vote? Obviously, people are just going to vote for the team they support.
Just trying to get those social media numbers up. I can actually respect that
Yeah.
as another social construct to also podcast, trying to get their social media numbers up.
That's not a Hall of Fame. That's it's a Twitter poll. Like,
Yeah, get ready to see fucking Santi Cazorla in a Hall of Fame near you. Did you see that game he played against City away? He was unbelievable. You couldn't get the ball off him. He made that himself look pedestrian.
Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?